Okay, next up we have a machine pec fly. So I think in this picture, this is actually like the classic pec deck machine. I can't be 100% positive on it because I've only ever actually seen this machine in my high school gym of all places when I first started lifting, but I love this machine. This machine is awesome. You get the full horizontal adduction there, which is great because we know that's what one of the main functions of your chest is. Additionally, it's a machine, right? So there's a weight stack. We can get all those benefits that come with it. This one, your back is also supported and you're seated, so you have less of a stability demand than even you would with like a standing cable fly. And one benefit that I find with this version with the elbows bent like that is it really takes a lot of the stress off of your shoulders just because it's a shorter lever arm. Elbow, obviously, if the weight is being loaded here, your humerus lengthwise here is a lot shorter than the entire length of your arm that includes your forearm. So it's a little bit safer on your shoulders. I think most gyms just don't have this one as much anymore because it can't be used also as like a rear delt fly machine. So I think they use generally the ones with the longer and wider arms, but we're gonna assume that this is also talking about just like a normal pec fly machine. So this is for sure an awesome exercise. I'm tempted to put it in S tier. The only thing that's stopping me is you can't really target the upper pecs quite as much as you can with the like low to high cable fly. But I'm definitely gonna put this is gonna be at the top of A tier, for sure. I mean, this is a awesome exercise. Basically just like fixes everything wrong with the flat dumbbell chest fly. Next up, we have what appears to be a plate press. Not sure exactly what the name for this exercise is, but this used to be actually pretty common back in the day with like way back YouTube lifters. Like I remember Ulysses doing this in a video, trying it myself. So what's going on? Essentially, you're squeezing two plates together here, and you have to hold that, squeeze the plates together or one's gonna drop, and then you're pressing out in front of you. It looks like this guy is doing this standing up, but I have seen people doing it laying on a flat bench or in an incline, which will definitely be superior to this. But essentially in this position, when you're standing here, squeezing the weights together, you're contracting your pecs isometrically, right? Where you have to horizontally adduct in order to keep the plates from falling. But then when you're pressing forward like this, you're not really getting any additional pec stimulation. In fact, all you're doing is working your front delts more because you're going from a shorter lever arm to a longer lever arm there. So like in theory, if you did this on a flat or an incline bench, it would be better because at least then your chest is working against gravity. But either way, the plates are blocking your like a deeper range of motion and they're working more isometrically. They're also keeping the elbows tight to your body. So even if you were laying back, we're getting much more tricep involvement. Man, this is definitely an F tier exercise. I'm just trying to decide where I want to put it in the F tier exercises. I think if you were doing this and this guy was laying down on say like a flat or an incline bench, this could move up to D tier. But right now, this has got to go at the bottom of F tier. I mean, this is even worse than the decline barbell press, which is saying a lot. But this is one of those that honestly, like when I was doing it for this video, I actually felt pretty good on my chest. So if you have a hard time getting like a mind-muscle connection with your chest, maybe just do like a couple sets of this as a warm-up, just so that you can kind of feel your pecs more then when you go into your main exercises. But for overall chest development, easily F tier. Okay, next up we have the Bill Russell of chest exercises in the classic push-up. So classic push-up, easily a Mount Rushmore chest exercise. Great starting point for basically everybody who's getting into lifting, right? You're getting some internal rotation, you're getting a little bit of horizontal adduction, you're getting shoulder flexion. If you're doing it correctly, like this guy is, your elbows are staying more at a 45-degree angle and not flaring out because that's gonna be more on your shoulders. You have really good functional carryover, which I know is not the point of this video, but it's just really good to learn the movement, especially scapular control with them. You can also load this better than you can on the other push-up variations we've gone over, because you can get a band around your back or you can get a plate on your back. Again, these are all things we probably did at some point when we were in lockdown, because we had to get really creative with exercises. I would love to put this in S tier just because of like legacy, but if we're really focusing on just muscle growth, then I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. And I'm gonna have to put it at the bottom of A tier, which might be controversial, and I don't feel great about it just because of its legacy, but all the other exercises we have ahead of it are much easier to load and progress on. Like eventually you're just gonna get too strong to be doing the push-up, and the push-up can become a great warm-up before you get into, say, your bench press or your incline press. But you're just gonna easily progress beyond what's required of this. Definitely good for a beginner, and if you are a beginner, instead of doing push-ups on your knees, how a lot of people recommend, if you can get a table or a box and put your hands on it and do push-ups there, that's gonna have a little bit better carryover to when you get down to a full push-up. And it's also gonna be easier to kind of measure because you can just lower the height of the box until your hands are all the way on the floor. Definitely awesome exercise, A tier for sure, but not quite S tier. I wanna keep S tier for really just the goats. Okay, now we have what appears to be a reverse grip bench press. So, what's going on here? One, elbows are gonna be very tight to our sides, which we already talked about is gonna use the triceps a lot. We're gonna have our wrists are gonna be fully supinated here, which isn't always a bad thing for your chest, but it's gonna make a lot more strain on your wrists here. And it's gonna be hard when you're unracking to maintain your shoulder position and then still pull the bar over in front of you. Also, we know the pecs, one of their functions is internal rotation, and we're not getting any of that on this. So one, this exercise is just pretty dangerous from an unracking perspective and strain on your joints, especially your wrist. And two, it's just inferior in every single way to any other flat barbell press, or even just like a flat dumbbell press. And I guess the idea behind it is you get a little bit more like shoulder flexion and maybe a little more horizontal adduction. But I think just the risk to reward on this exercise is totally not worth it at all. And I think just a lot of people are gonna end up hurting themselves trying to do this exercise. This was another one that I feel like had its time in like the old YouTube fitness space where everybody was like preaching that this was like, oh, this is the key to unlocking your chest gains. Like I think like Mike O'Hearn did this a lot, but I mean, that dude is a freak of nature, right? And we're talking about what's gonna be great for the general population. So this exercise we're putting in D tier, easily. I think just this like medicine ball push-up is way safer than this one. And I would never program this for any client. Okay, speaking of exercises that I would never program for a client looking to gain muscle is a ring push-up. So rings, let's talk about what's good about them. So for one, if you're doing a ring push-up, you're able to get a deeper range of motion because you're already a little elevated and the elbows can move further behind your body, hence putting more of a stretch on your chest. You also could, in theory, when you press up, go into a little bit of horizontal adduction, so almost finish in like a fly position. So those are all things that we like. Now let's talk about the bad. Obviously, this is gonna require a ton of shoulder and wrist stability. Right, these rings are flapping around here and you need to be able to stabilize your body weight laterally in all planes, essentially. So your main limiting factor on this exercise is going to be stability rather than your chest strength, right? So like your stabilizers are gonna give out on this before your chest does. So you're just not gonna be able to get an adequate stimulus for it. If you're a gymnast, by all means, do a bunch of these because that's very sport specific for you. But for just your average everyday lifter, I would never program this. Horrible idea for pretty much anybody. And even if you are gonna do it, I almost prefer using like a TRX push-up for it, just because that's a little bit more stable than some rings, because the rings can also roll while they're in their straps, whereas TRX, at least the grip is staying flat. So never ever do this unless you're thinking about getting into gymnastics. This is easily gonna be a F tier exercise, probably at the top of F tier if I had to choose a spot for it, because at least it is like a full range of motion push-up. If you want to get like a deeper range of motion on a push-up, then either get some parallel bars, which are, actually have some right here. Essentially, it's just a little bar that you can press off of that lets you get that full range of motion on your chest. Got these when we were in lockdown and before I had like a whole home gym setup. These are just gonna be much safer and more effective. If you don't have them, set up like a couple bumper plates and you can put your hands on there and get a deeper range of motion. Much safer on the shoulders. Chest is gonna be more of the limiting factor, which we want for muscle hypertrophy. Okay, we're getting towards the bottom of the list here. It looks like what we have next is a cable chest press machine. Now, my gym doesn't have this one, but my old gym did have it. And I actually really like this machine. We're getting basically all the advantages you would out of like a traditional hammer strength machine, but you're getting a deeper range of motion on it for one, and it's easier to change because you have a weight stack there. You can also kind of adjust your elbow position better. So I know like a lot of the hammer strength ones, the only thing you can adjust is the seat height, and then you can't actually change the bar path much. With this one, you totally can change the bar path, which is a good thing. Only downside is it does require greater stability strength because the cable can pull you in any direction versus a hammer strength that's just on this fixed axis. So this is actually an awesome exercise, really like it. You can use it usually for flies also, which that's actually like the most scientifically optimal way to do a chest fly would be on a bench. You can also set up a foam roller long ways. One of the trainers I used to work with, we always ripped that together and it was awesome. Yeah, don't really have much bad to say about this exercise. It's just not gonna be like ideal as a primary movement because getting into position is gonna be kind of tough because you have to reach behind yourself to grab the cables, which can just put your shoulders in a little awkward position, especially if you're trying to do heavy weight on this. So honestly, I would prefer to use this machine more for flies than I would for like an actual chest press. But this is a great exercise. So I'm gonna put this at the top of B tier. I feel good about that. It's borderline A tier, but just looking at the other exercises that are in A tier right now, I just don't really think I can put them at the same level. I know I have the incline chest press there, like hammer strength one, which I just talked about, but that one is just also a little bit safer than this because getting into the starting position is more challenging with the cable version and stabilizing throughout on it. This is top of B tier, maybe bottom of A tier, but I'm gonna have to stick with B tier for now. Okay, Smith machine flat barbell bench press. Okay, let's talk about the Smith machine for a second. Smith machine, you're gonna be fixed on just this vertical axis, right? So there's no lateral movement here, there's no forward and backwards, it's just up and down. So for like a squat or a deadlift or like any type of movement, a lunge, something where you want the bar path to be straight, Smith machine is gonna be great because it's way safer. You don't have to waste a ton of energy stabilizing on it. So it's gonna be really good for that. But as we talked about earlier, on a traditional chest press, we actually want the movement to be going up and then back towards our head a little bit. So we think of it more of as like a J curve for the bar path is gonna be most optimal, especially for shoulder, elbow, all just joint health. And we're not able to achieve that with the Smith machine. So that kind of puts us in an awkward position because we do have a lot of advantages here. It's a lot safer. You can push to failure a lot easier. The setup can be really annoying, finding like the appropriate height on it, but you can go to failure. You do get a good chest pump with this. And if this were an incline version in this picture here, it would probably be higher ranking for me for all the reasons I always talk about with incline presses. But because this is flat, we're gonna have to put this in B tier. It's just anytime you're doing a movement like that where you're on this fixed bar path that isn't optimal for your biomechanics, and if you're doing a ton of reps of that, especially if you're going heavy and this is like your main chest movement, it can lead to some tendonitis in your elbows or your shoulders. So supplementary exercise, hit like 3 sets really hard on incline for this. That's great. But in terms of like a primary chest exercise, I think it's not the most optimal. Plus, when you're unracking, like you have to roll your wrists in a little bit of an awkward position. And I think sometimes you can lose some of your back tightness and good shoulder positioning with that. I think I would actually still put it ahead of the dumbbell fly though, just because of its potential for progressive overload. Okay, we're really getting towards the end now. So next up, this looks like it's a high to low cable fly. Cable flies, we've already talked about a ton of the advantages with them, right? You get good horizontal adduction. Another function of your chest is just to do regular adduction, which is if your arms are at the sides like this, bringing them closer to your sides, right? So that's one of the functions, and we're getting kind of 2 of them involved here. Only issue is because of the direction of resistance, you're really targeting the lower pec fibers a lot more than the upper pec fibers. It's almost like the same line of pull you would get with a dip. So we're missing out on some of that upper chest stimulation. Obviously, it's still a very good exercise, but I would rather just do it at chest level if you're not gonna do a low to high version. So I can't really think of any reason to do this over the other cable fly variations, except that it can look pretty cool and you can get like some cool looking striations in your chest when you're doing it. But overall, I think I'm gonna put this at the top of C tier. Not a bad exercise, but there's just a lot of ways we can improve on it. So we're gonna put it at average. Okay, next up we have this is one of those exercises that a personal trainer gives to their client so that the client thinks that they need the trainer to do complex exercises like this, but the client doesn't realize that this is actually hurting their gains more than helping them. So we are doing a Swiss ball dumbbell chest press, or physio ball. I don't know what you guys call it. But essentially you're doing a dumbbell chest press, but your back is on this physio ball. So 1, less stability than we have on just a normal flat dumbbell like bench press there. Even a floor press, we're much more stable for our back. Additionally, our legs are up, so you're having to maintain this bridge position here the entire time, right? That's gonna cause your glutes to fatigue, it's gonna engage your core a lot more. You're already having to stabilize laterally because this ball can be sliding around. And I mean, this lady in this picture, she's doing it with her neck on the ball, which tons of reasons that's not good, but we're gonna presume that she would be doing it with her full upper back and head on the ball. Additionally, this is gonna be really hard to even get the dumbbells in position, right? Because you have to roll back up onto the ball while simultaneously throwing each dumbbell up, then get into that bridge position, somehow set your shoulder blades, and then start pressing from there. And each rep is gonna be hard because you're having to stabilize throughout. So what do we think is gonna fatigue first? Your stabilizers or your actual chest? Stabilizers, right? And additionally, because of the added injury risk of just getting into position or rolling off the ball, there's like a good chance you're gonna hurt yourself doing this, especially if you try to use like any significant amount of weight on it. So this again, like with the decline barbell press, I was actually so embarrassed filming it in the gym for this. So once again, please like, subscribe, so that I can afford therapy to get over this traumatic experience. If your trainer ever tries to give you this exercise, you fire them immediately and go hire a new trainer. Honestly, even like talk to the managers there and be like, yo, my trainer just gave me this dangerous exercise that's not doing anything. Like, where did this dude get his license from? So this is going at like the way bottom. Like, this is by far the worst exercise on this list, and it's not even really close to me. Okay, 2 remaining. Next up, we have a barbell overhead press. So just to start, I need to remind you guys, this is a chest exercise tier list. It's not a shoulder or just overall exercise tier list. The overhead press is a great exercise. It's really like full body, requires a lot of core and pelvic stability there. Scapula needs to be really strong. You need to have good shoulder mobility to get through it. Really good for developing your anterior delts, but for your chest, you're getting almost no stimulation there. If you are feeling it in your upper chest, it's probably because you're leaning back and accommodating here, which is gonna be really dangerous for your low back because you could give out and your core is obviously not tight then. Most people don't even have the shoulder mobility to do this properly and end up just compensating, and then they get shoulder impingement and a bunch of other shoulder issues for this. So as far as chest exercises go, this is definitely F tier. I can't put it any higher than that because you're barely even stimulating your chest. This is mainly gonna be a shoulder and tricep exercise. So we are gonna go ahead and put it just ahead of the Swiss ball bench press. Okay, last one. We have a incline dumbbell bench press. So this is an incline, which we already love. It's dumbbells, which we don't love as much of a barbell, but we still love because it's a free weight exercise. It basically improves on everything in the flat dumbbell bench press, so we already know this is gonna be pretty high because we have that one in A tier. Not as optimal as the incline barbell bench press. Again, because of getting into positioning can be a little dangerous, especially when you get stronger. Not quite as optimal for progressive overload. However, if you do feel like you're hitting a plateau on like the incline barbell press, it can be nice to go and do like incline dumbbell for a month and just kind of build strength there and then return to the incline barbell. I've done that and it actually helps my strength long-term with the incline barbell, but it's not gonna be quite as good as just the incline barbell. So easily an S tier exercise here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it just behind the flat barbell press and just ahead of the low to high cable fly. Really good just for chest development. Progressive overload is pretty good with it. Just a little dangerous getting into position, but for sure one of the goated exercises here. All right, and that wraps up our chest exercise tier list. Just a reminder, this tier list is based purely on hypertrophy, so muscle gain. We're not talking about strength or functionality, purely for building muscle and building a good looking chest. And looking back over this, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. I don't know if there's really anything I would change on it right now, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, just be sure to also list why you disagree with me if you do, because I'd love to hear your opinion and maybe you can inform me and then I can be more educated and be a better trainer and instructor. If you want help designing your own program or just some accountability coaching, email gritworkfitness@gmail.com down below and we can set up a time to chat and find out what's gonna work best for you. But until then, have a great day, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.